we all get influenced. So where you're consuming your content from can heavily impact your worldview, which is why it's really, really important to step back and actually, well, what are my beliefs? What do I stand for? I think that's the challenge with most people who are not posting content. They're not getting on video. They're listening to too many inputs from too many different voices, so they're not quite sure where they stand. And it's very hard when you don't know where you stand to actually get out and talk about things. Creating your social media content philosophy for 2025. I want you to stay with me on this subject. It's a little bit left of field, and if you're new here, my name's Aaron Whitnish. I'm the co-founder of Content Only. My agency creates in the region of 500 original videos and written posts for our clients every single month, and you can download the 30 days in 30 minutes content creation system absolutely free at contentonly.au. So the Content Marketing Podcast is back, and I've had a long break, most of December, start of January, and no doubt, like yourself, I spent time reflecting on what worked in 2024, what's going to get doubled down on, what's been eliminated, what are some of the goals and things that want to get accomplished in 2025. And I kept coming back to this idea that the philosophy we have on the world heavily influences the activity and the beliefs that we have that ultimately produce our results. And this very much ties into content creation, what we're prepared to talk about, how much we share with the world. And I signed off with the final episode of 2024 talking about the journey that my wife has had without going into too much detail with breast cancer. And that's been our last 16 months, the ups and downs of healing from that. And there are a whole series of pressures that showed up. I didn't handle some of them well. Others I stepped up in. And it's nice to be on the other side of the hard yards with that particular battle, if you want to call it that. My wife is all clear at the moment, which is really positive news. She stepped back out onto social media. If you do know the Queen, Paula Bailey, she did her first post back after a long break while she just focused on her health and getting better with enormous reception as you'd expect. And that was a really proud moment for me because a lot of truth comes out when you're sitting and you're fighting something that puts the body through all its paces. And what it has done is it's reshaped the lens that I look at the world with from this time last year. As you can imagine, it was very intense. This was kind of the peak of the AC treatment in January last year, which is the most brutal form of chemotherapy. You can only have it once in your life. And my wife Paula is basically lying on her back, not able to do much. And I was taking on the parenting responsibilities, running the household, keeping the businesses going, all those sorts of things, which created a level of claustrophobia because I feel like I didn't have the space and time, but I knew what I had to get done and what I wanted to produce. And I found that really challenging to deal with. But here we are, having moved past and through a lot of that. And this philosophy idea has kept circulating, and I've sat down, and if you're seeing the video version of this, you'll see I've got a few notepads in my hand, and I've been doing a lot of jotting down, pen and paper, going a little bit old school away from the smart device. And what I realized is shaping my views in different areas of life, so content, social media, business, forming one of those, health, fitness, family, relationships, lifestyle, is really, really important. But I want you to play along with me now because we all get influenced. And I've mentioned before about having too many conflicting inputs put into your mind. So where you're consuming your content from can heavily impact your worldview and how you see things and how you show up. Which is why it's really, really important to step back and actually, well, what are my beliefs? What do I stand for? And if you get strong enough in those convictions, things like getting on video, sharing an opinion that may be contrarian to mainstream, those things happen when you have a strong worldview and you back yourself in and you get absolutely committed to your goals. And I think that's the challenge with most people who are not posting content. They're not getting on video. They're listening to too many inputs from too many different voices, so they're not quite sure where they stand. And it's very hard when you don't know where you stand to actually get out and talk about things. For example, I put a post on my stories up this morning, and it was a photo. I'd completed a bodyweight workout, so pull-ups, push-ups, dips, sit-ups, all those fun things. And for a long time, I wouldn't post pictures with my shirt off, and I have done so in the past before. And I was sitting back going, why is that? Now, if you post a picture of yourself with your shirt off, there's a few things that will happen. Some people, if you look good, will go awesome. Some people that are judging and get triggered will criticize or go, what a wanker, how vain. But then what I realized when I was forming my worldview heading into this year was I wanted to talk from a place of results. And the challenge is a lot of people are formulating their worldview from people that are not living that truth. They're not leading from where they live. They're not being the example. If I was overweight, had a dad bod, and I was posting about fitness and health, you would question that unless you knew I'd had success somewhere in the path. You go, well, this person clearly isn't in shape, so why would I listen to them? And that's where most people are consuming information from. People talking about making money, people talking about marketing, people talking about business. Well, what are the results? And I thought there's an obligation on my side, if I'm committed and I've formed philosophies in these key pillars of my life, so business, health, content, marriage, fatherhood, relationships, that I start showing where I'm at with that. Because I can only speak from what I've achieved. And if I'm speaking outside of that, I need to reference where I'm getting my information from and who the source of that knowledge or sharing that strategy. You need to do an audit of who is feeding me my input into my brain when I'm consuming content. And do they have the results on the board? Are they credible in that area? Because if not, there might be time to find someone else to help form your worldviews and find someone that you agree with that has actually run the course, has been in the trenches and on the field and done the work. So that way you're someone that's been through the challenges, been through the hardship, done the work, faced the criticism, and you're learning from that as opposed to someone who's sharing theory and theory that's not always backed by fact. So where am I going with this? I know this is a bit of a loop-de-loop at the moment. So what I'm saying is for 2025, you want to find those one or two people that you believe in what they say, and it supports many of your worldviews, but they've also got the result, because that's the input that you want to have in your ear. And if you're listening to this podcast and you might be new here, you might have been listening for a while, I'm doing my best to talk from places of results, talking from action, where I live, real life experiences, and sharing that. I'm going to try to go deeper this year, share a little bit more of the personal side tied in with the strategic side, because it has been a wild ride and there's a lot going on, and that will come out as we proceed through this year. So now when we go to the content side, I want you to think about what's going to be your next post on social media, and what do you want to talk about this year? Do you want to talk about the business, the strategic side, what you're working on? Do you want to talk more about educational parts, helping people, solving problems for your target audience? Is it a mixture? Is it a hybrid where you want to introduce some of your values, what's going on behind the scenes, and also help the marketplace? Because I think having a philosophy about how you approach content is really, really important. Then I want to talk to the 30 days and 30 minutes, which it is now, content creation system. So what I want you to do, if you're not working with us, and of course you can have this conversation with me and we'll turn it into your 30 days of content, get a friend, get a partner, someone that you trust, write down a list of what comes out when you're thinking about what you want to talk about. It might be 5 stepping off points, 6 stepping off points. With that person you trust, jump on a Zoom, jump on a Google Meet, jump on some sort of virtual conversation that you're recording. Talk to each of those points at length. Get them to prompt you, get them to push you a little bit, get them to take you further with each of those stepping off points. Because if you can start extracting where you're at and where you're heading, and you can start to articulate that, you're creating a message, which is such an important part of content marketing. And I admit that a lot of my content, while I was going through everything with Paul, I was very vanilla. It was about content strategy, content creation, and I'm completely okay with that. But this year, it's going to lean more into those topics and areas where I feel like I can have a deeper impact that's more on a personal mission and cuts a little bit deeper to whoever's listening to it. So have that conversation, record it, and then depending on where you're at in your business, your content creation journey, use some of the strategies that we've talked about in other episodes. If you're bootstrapping, you don't have a budget, you go to a tool like Opus Clip, run that conversation through that software and get it to churn out some reels and some shorts and some videos that you can start putting out onto social media. And pick the ones that come back that you like, tidy them up if you need to, but start posting, because the way you get through the fear of sharing your message, being on video, is by actually doing it. Sitting there and thinking about it is only going to make the beast or the monster more scary. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a long time, you aren't on video, you aren't posting, then you're missing the whole point. The second thing that you can do is, if you have access to an editor or you have a business that has resources, people in-house, and get them to cut that conversation up and share the parts of that are in line with your philosophy for 2025. And like I said, that final option is talk to me if you want us to do it with and for you, because we can certainly help. So hopefully, with me riffing and going off the cusp here without any notes, I've helped you tick off a few things. Number one, go, okay, find that person to listen to that I like their worldview. I can buy into that, but they're doing it from a place of living there. They have the results, and don't put any conflicting or outside voices in that's going to muddle up the message, because that's where you get confused and you don't take action, because someone's telling you to work really, really hard. Someone's telling you to do the 4-hour work week. Someone's telling you to only post this many times. Someone's saying you post this many times. You need to work out what's right for you, because they're all different. And the only answer that's right is what is right for you. And you need to form that worldview. Then commit to sharing what comes through and get it out there on social media to kick off January. Start with a bang. Do something that you've never done before. Become the next version of you. Get out of your comfort zone. And that's going to set the standard for how you're going to expand this year. So if that message is cut through, great. If you're new here, make sure you follow or subscribe, whichever platform you're listening on, so you can catch all new episodes on demand. And if you're in a position where there is an opportunity to review, leave a 5-star review, send the picture of that to me on social media. My name's Aaron Whitney. You can easily find me, and I'll send you a special gift for supporting the podcast and helping more people discover the show.